Please watch the video until the end. Every second matters to understand what happened in the bunker. Chapter 1. The light that was left. When the trucks rolled us under the old missile silo, the sky was a bruise. They told us it was containment, safety wrapped in rust and polite orders. I remember the sound of my boots on metal stairs, the way my breath condensed and vanished into the ventilation hum. My name is Mara. I had been a medic before the walls dog-eared into corridors of fear. The team was a strange, exhausted family. Captain Voss, who barked when he was scared, Dr. Maria Holt with her tired hands and stubborn belief that answers were worth the cost, Elias, who kept a secret sack of bread he never shared, Tomas, who laughed to keep his teeth from chattering, Claire with her sketches of trees she claimed she would find again, and Jonah, a young technician who spent more time with machines than with people. They built the lab in the deepest belly. Fluorescent bulbs stung like accusation. We had beds in the cold wings, a mess that served something that passed for food, and a door that only opened to the past and the smell of the city outside, decay, and the silence of windows left agape. Down there, the clocks ticked like nervous patients. We were given duties and told to obey. The map of the world above us had holes the size of towns. Chapter 2. Why we were still curious. Maria said we were doing the only humane thing left, studying whatever came back. She hated the word it. She called them subjects. We fed them, dressed them when they were whole, and when they weren't, we stitched small tags into their sleeves like grave markers. The subjects couldn't be reasoned with, but they were fascinating in the way nightmares are, familiar faces with the wrong script. Jonah wired sensors to their heads to measure the small, stubborn lights that remained. Captain Voss wanted weapons and patrols. The younger soldiers wanted to smash the glass and let their anger have shape. I cleaned wounds. I administered morphine to the dying, medicated panic, tried to patch the seams when humans frayed. Nights we sat in the observation window and watched the subjects walk, bare feet leaving prints like questions across the concrete. We treated science as salvation. Mireya fed me theories about memory and reflex, about the way the brain could be jarred and yet still echo with traces of who it had been. None of us wanted to admit the truth that gnawed at the edges. Curiosity was a luxury when the world had become teeth and frost. Chapter 3. The cracks begin. Tension stretches thin beneath the skin. Food ran low. The radios that promised resupply were paper promises. Arguments began over small things. Who took the last orange, whether we should risk a run to the service tunnels. Captain Voss tightened rules. He wrote curfews on clipboards like commandments. The soldiers grew mean. Meanness is what happens when people pretend there is enough for everyone but know there isn't. Then the first real breach. A subject we had marked as 47 was found outside the observation bay, standing at the rim of the light, watching us. No alarm on the inside door had sounded. How long was it out there, pacing the belt between our woken world and the dark? It had the room temperature stench of old houses and sweet rot. It reached for the glass and smiled in a way that was nothing like memory. After that, things moved faster than your ability to swallow. Small injuries multiplied into gashes. Trust, which had been a fragile protocol, evaporated. Jonah argued with a sergeant about sedation schedules. Elias and Tomas nearly came to blows over a can of coffee. In the lab, Mireya kept calibrating sensors, as if the numbers might redraw reality. She began to talk to the subjects as if they were children learning to speak again. I watched her and thought about motherhood in the time of slackened horizons, and how love warps even under fluorescent light. Chapter 4. The night the doors opened. It was the third week of rationing when they came through the service hatch. We had heard scuffling and the dull, patient thump of something methodical. Captain Voss ordered silence. The hatch's lock had been tampered with. Someone had been working from the other side. When the light spilled through the gap, I saw the mashed shapes of bodies moving like a single poor dream. They were slow but inexorable. Hands reaching over bodies, faces pressed against metal, teeth clacking soft as rain on glass. We were trained to be efficient, not kind. The soldiers fired. The first round went wild, ricocheting off ducks, bodies piled in a confusion of limbs and fabric. One subject, once a man with a tattoo of a sun on his forearm, made it to the lab and found Mireia. She had been kneeling, adjusting a sensor, and did not raise a hand when he touched her face. He smelled of warm bread. Then he bit. I will never write that sound down without tasting copper. After, there was blood and the slick sound of clothes being torn from reason. Claire was mauled at the door. I held her wrist to stop the bleeding and felt her pulse ebb away from me like a tide. We lost more than equipment that night. The bunker learned itself to fear the idea of safety. Chapter 5. The Dealings of Desperation. We built barricades from tables and shelving, windows boarded with sheets of metal. The survivors sorted into groups like old bones, making a new skeleton. Some wanted to flip the breakers and drown the lab in darkness. Some wanted to open the doors and take the chance. Captain Voss's authority shrank into a coin he flipped when voices grew too loud. I remember the terrible meetings in the mess where people bartered memories like currency. Elias traded the names of his children for a pack of batteries. Tomas gave up his laugh for a pair of warm socks. Mireia took a different trade. She became reckless with hope. She proposed an experiment that smelled of both brilliance and madness. If we could teach one of the subjects to respond, to recognize, to be guided, perhaps we could use it as a bridge. If it worked, we could gain intelligence, maybe even reclaim parts of the surface. If it failed, we would learn something vital. They called the subject Echo for its small, odd mimicry. Echo would not always obey, but sometimes Echo would turn its head and look right into the observation window, as if peering through the glass of time. For a moment you could imagine your mother or brother, someone who once kept you small and safe, looking back. Chapter 6. What we did for hope. We trained Echo with tokens and food, with the steady hand of someone refusing to believe in finality. For a little while, it worked. Echo would fetch a small cup, place its hands where we asked, and sometimes when Mireia hummed a tune, its eyes lit with something that looked like recognition. Those were the nights we slept easier, our heads filled with naive scripts of redemption. Then Jonah, he was clever in ways that hurt, wired a device to monitor reflex arcs and neural spikes. He wanted proof. Proof was a dangerous thing when it meant giving orders to bodies that no longer belonged to the living. One night the device showed a pattern, a slow, growing resonance that matched the times when Echo stood at the glass, when the subjects outside gathered at the doors. It was a memory the device measured, Jonah said in a tremor. It was a signal, a low, organizing rhythm. Patterns make armies. Echo had become a kind of signal beacon. We argued until words were knives. Captain Voss wanted to destroy Echo and anyone connected to it. Mireia wanted to protect the signal long enough to study it. Elias and Tomas wanted to burn the whole place and start again. In the end, the bunker chose survival over ethics. We moved Echo deeper, into a sanctum of metal and antiseptic, and bolted the doors with the hope that knowledge could be fenced like livestock. Chapter 7. After and Before. The last night I slept, I woke to the smell of burning hair. The soldiers who had stayed awake whispered that someone had stacked the bodies like kindling at the east entrance. Later we found footprints leading away from the barricades, small, nimble, human shoes with prints inside them that were not ours. Mireia went missing. She had walked toward the lab as an offering or in triumph. We argued about the difference for days. When the final collapse came, it was not cinematic. It happened with the bureaucratic calm of a dripping faucet. The power failed in one block of rooms, and a chain of doors failed along with it. Echo's sanctuary opened to the crowd. The signal that Jonah had feared became a chorus. The subjects moved as one toward anything that pulsed like a living heart. They weren't loud at first. They were patient as a tide. Then the soldiers fired, and for a long, wrong moment we were luminescent with spent lives. I left with nothing but a satchel of bandages and the taste of copper on my tongue. Elias did not come. Tomas was carried past me, his face a map of what fear can do to laughter. Captain Voss roared orders, and then fell silent for a time long enough for the world to tilt. I found a ladder, rusty and thin, leading to a maintenance hatch that smelled of the city, like old postcards. I went up. The moon was full and ridiculous over a city of broken windows. I walked until my feet were tired and my knees began to pray. There are things I cannot say because naming them would let them know I'm still here. There are things I must say because forgetting them would be a further violence. I am the one who writes this now. I write with hands that shake from muscle memory, from the smallness of sleep. Sometimes I dream of fluorescent light and hear the click of a sensor. Sometimes I wake with my mouth full of concrete dust and the echo of Mireia humming. I do not know if I did right or wrong. I only know that in the end, knowledge became another kind of hunger, and we fed it with everything we had. If this testimony moved you, subscribe to the channel, activate notifications, give the video a like, comment your thoughts below, and share the video so others hear what we learned in the dark.